Hey guys, Aniso here, and today we want to talk about general things in Dota. We want to talk about map movement, the importance of the towers, the objectives, how to play around them, how to take them, which ones are the most important towers to take, how do we actually play around them, what does each tower provide for us, and so on. Just general gameplay tips. So in Dota there are two kinds of objectives. First one is Roshan and the second one is the towers. Usually getting towers is really important in Dota. Like every tower that you lose, the enemies will gain an advantage, and every tower that you destroy from the enemies, your team will get an advantage. So what exactly are those advantages? First, if you can destroy any enemy tower, you and your whole team will get gold, obviously. Like the gold is around, I think it's like 90 gold for every hero in the team. If you get the last hit, then it's a little bit more bonus gold for you, so it's pretty nice. It's not the biggest deal, but what makes getting towers really important is the map control and the vision that you gain out of those towers. Like right here, as you can see, if we push in those creeps, our creeps cannot advance further into the map than up until this tower. Right, this tower is basically a static defense that stops creeps from advancing further into the map. So all the vision we can get is just up until this point. And then behind the towers it is very hard to get any information. So like over here, even placing wards over here is really hard while this tower is up. It's just in general, every tower, like getting vision behind towers, it is so hard. So every tower just blocks vision from your team. So every tower that you can get will provide you more information. But now when this tower is gone, the creeps will just advance way further into the map, giving us more information. This makes it more easy for us to gank enemies. Just because we have more vision, we can take better decisions than before. And then also it is harder for enemy team to farm like this camp and this camp when there are creeps here. It's just more information that we get, and the more towers we destroy, the further our creeps will advance into the enemy side of the map and provide more vision for us. Thus making decisions for us, like ganking and taking team fights, somewhere way more easy because we see more enemies on the map. So now let's take a look at which tower is the most important to take and why, and what does each tower provide for us exactly. So the first objective that we will talk about is getting the enemy mid tier 1 tower. And this tower is just centered in the map and it will provide so much area control and vision around important places such as the runes and the jungle entrances. Like it is so much harder to invade the enemy jungle and triangle while this tower is still up. Like people can just TP here and gank you if you're trying to run into the jungle. If this tower is gone, you just get so much easier access onto those parts of the map. So this is like a 10 out of 10 on the priority list to take. If you can somehow manage to get the enemy tower, really important. How do we take the tower? You could place wards up until like this high ground. At nighttime or with a smoke you can place wards behind the tower, or you could place wards over here. This makes taking this tower way more easy. Remember, if you have more vision, you have more information about enemies and you can make better decisions in the game. So if you somehow can take this tower at around 10 to 15 minutes, do it. Most important tower in the game. So for the next tower on our priority list, it is the enemy safe lane tower. I'd say this is like an 8, maybe a 9 out of 10. So it is nearly as important as the enemy mid tower. But compared to the enemy mid tower, this tower is way more easy to take. So usually this will be the first tower that you will take, just because it's more easy to take than the mid tower, but the mid tower still has higher priority than this one. So what do we gain if we push this tower? First of all, if we take a look at the layout of the Dota map from both side lanes, the space from here up until this tower, it is so large. Like between the tier 1 and tier 2. If we take a look at the bot lane, there's nearly no space in here. There's like half the space than it is on the top lane. So pushing this tower will get way more map control for us than pushing the bot tier 1 tower. So if this tower is gone, we gain access to all those jungle camps. Like while this tower is up, farming those camps as dire is really safe. But if this tower is gone, farming a camp like over here, or maybe even over here, is really freaking scary. Just because when this tower is here, like teammates can still TP to reinforce them if they're farming here and then there's a fight going on. But if this tower is not here and then the enemy carry is like farming the hard camp, there's no objective that their team can TP to help them. Like, yes, they could theoretically TP to the outpost, but this takes 6 seconds instead of 3 seconds like a normal TP would do, and then usually in 6 seconds someone is already dead. And then if someone TPs over here, they still have to run all this way up until here. Like this would just give your team way more farm from the enemy jungle, and then also just deny a lot of farm from the enemies. Also, the best wards to push this tower is either right in front of the tower, so you can scout for TPs, or if you can manage to get the ward behind the tower, that's even better. Like here, for example. This way you can see all the TPs. Usually people will TP over here, or they will reinforce the tower from this way. So if you have a ward over here, you can see all of that. And then also this ward is really helpful. If you have those two wards, getting this tower is like impossible for enemies to defend it, basically, just because you have so much vision. So now we take a look at the enemy offlane tower. On the priority list, this is like a 1 out of 10. Like you don't care about this tower at all. In general, you never want to put any emphasis on this tower at all, because it just doesn't provide anything. Like if your creeps run up until this point or here, it doesn't matter. Like there's no creep camps that you gain. You will not gain a lot more map control. Like if you push this tower, you gain access to all the camps, right? But here there are no camps nearby. There's only the triangle, and it doesn't really matter if this tower is here or not. Like invading the enemy triangle here is still really freaking hard. Like you have to have a really huge advantage to be able to invade the triangle. So this tower basically will never provide anything to you. Okay, so we just took the mid tier 1 tower, the safe lane tier 1 tower. The next objectives could either be Roshan or one of those tier 2 towers. This tower is still not important. We don't care about this tier 1 tower bot. We just want to play in this area of the map. So it is either we see enemies, maybe like bottom for example, and we can hit this tower for free or this tower for free. Or if we don't see them over here and we have some walls like this and this, we know they're probably like smoke ganking somewhere, or they're doing stuff over here. So this means if we know they're doing stuff over here, or maybe they're hitting like this tower, we can just take Roshan for free. Maybe we can just get a pickoff over here. Like if we push in the top wave and then we suddenly see a support like TPing here to defend this and he's alone, we can just gank him, and then either we get this tower for free if there's no follow-up from the enemy team, or we just run rosh. But like if you're playing in this area of the map, which usually for most low MMR players seems so scary, but it is actually the right play. It is more easy for you to gank enemies at their towers, because if you're pushing creeps into the towers, they have to show. You can just kill them, and then you can play around the important objectives such as Roshan and the tier 2 towers. So pretty easy, take the tier 1s, mid and top, and then pressure the lanes around mid and top. And then suddenly if you get a pick off or you win a team fight, just head straight to Rosh. So after taking the Roshan and the tier 2 towers top and mid, the map will look something like this. This is still our part of the map. Usually in most games, like those tower was gone and this tower is also gone on the bot lane. So enemies will play this part of the map, we play this part of the map. We have Aegis, we have taken all the tier 2 towers. Now it's the time to take those towers here. right? Like we are strong enough, we have so much map control, we can push in the top lane, we can push in the mid lane, and then people have to defend here, and then if we see someone TPing here or here, and this is the time when we can take these towers. Like we can take the tier 1 over here. Then we can easily take over the triangle in most games. You put a ward over here, and then you take the tier 2. Maybe you place a ward behind the tower. And this is how you want to play the map in most games. First you take the mid and top tier 1 towers, then you take Roshan, then you take the top and mid tier 2 towers, and then you take the enemy offlane towers afterwards. Like this would be an ideal game. At this point, what I see most people doing wrong is just freaking thinking they're so strong, running up the high ground, and then they're dying. They just feed, maybe they even dive the towers, and they just throw away all the advantages they got, which is so stupid. Please don't do this. Usually the first Aegis that we got already timed out by this time, unless you like completely phase rolled them. Like if you still have the Aegis, maybe you can try sieging. But in most games, the first Aegis we got is already run out. So what you'd want to do is like get wards around the enemy entrances of the base. Right? Like here, maybe even a little bit more away from the base so they don't get dewarded so easy. Like I don't know, like here. Or like here, for example, right? Just some example wards. You just want to get vision onto the enemies leaving the base, and then you can basically farm this whole area. And you just farm the whole map completely up until the next Roshan respawn. Like you either wait for the next Rosh, the second one, to respawn. You will get an additional shard and another Aegis, and this makes it so much more easy to break the high ground. Also, if you're farming the whole map for like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, while the enemies are stuck in their base, you will just get a huge net worth lead. You will just gain so much more gold than the enemies. Like you don't need to break this high ground. You don't care about the high ground unless you either get Roshan or you wait for enemies to get out of the base. Like if you have those kind of wards around the base and you see someone walking up here alone, and you can somehow get the skill, maybe even a second one that's trying to help this guy, yeah, okay. Then you can go high ground if there are 2 people dead. But the general game plan is like taking the tier 1 and mid and top, then taking the tier 2s and Roshan, then taking those towers, waiting for the second Rosh, and then you can go high ground and siege with the second Rosh and a lot of net worth advantage. This would be like the perfect game state.